The following program contains scenes which are violent in nature. The material is being performed by professionals and should not be attempted at home. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Urban Self-Defense. I'm your host, Mike Arsenault. In this series, we look at what happens when everyday urban situations become dangerous. Now, in past episodes, we've looked at adult safety, but unfortunately, today's youth are just as susceptible to the same type of attacks. Therefore, today is all about youth safety. Jason Carter of the Snow Lion Martial Arts Jujitsu Academy will show your kids some simple self-defense techniques that could potentially save their life. You'll notice two differences about this episode. Kevin's away and we have a new face. Jason's son Nathan is helping us out this week because today's episode is all about youth safety. Jason will be playing the role of attacker because I didn't really want to get beat up by a 17-year-old. And Nathan's going to show you a simple and effective way to defend yourself against a bully attack.
Well, this brings me back to grade 9.
Jason, I could have used this defense 10 years ago.
Oh, but it looks like your situation, it's probably never too late to never.
All right, so this one, I'm approaching my locker,
yes.
Right? And that's when you, the mean bully attacker,
exactly.
comes at me. Okay, so if I'm at my locker here, opening the door, getting my books.
And from this case, I'm going to basically shove you from behind first, right? That gets that guy's attention.
So obviously, I'm going to turn, and who's
exactly
always today?
Exactly. First thing you want to do is make yourself some space from that locker.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be stuck against here.
Exactly. Because if you're there, you have nowhere to go. Okay.
So but we've also talked in previous episodes that I want space between my attacker, right? So how do you kind of, I guess, reconcile? Not, I don't want my back against the locker, but I don't want to also be in your space.
Exactly.
Either.
What you need to do is almost split the difference.
Okay.
And in most cases, in most episodes, you'll see that we are always concerned about our own space. Because once you have space, you have room to get out to go to safety.
So so I guess what's worse then? I don't want to be, if I have to be closer to you, that's better than being pinned against my locker.
Exactly. Obviously, you want to try to circle out, but in this case, it happens so quick. You know, I pushed you from behind, you turn, I've pushed you again. Okay, so that takes you by surprise. First thing you're going to do is get yourself away, because you don't want to be there for this person to hit you.
Okay, so you push me again and I come back.
Exactly. Okay. Now I go to push you one more time, and this is when you're going to take the situation in control. So I go to push you, all you're going to do is take your far shoulder and turn yourself away from me. As you turn away, grab my lead hand.
So is this like in hockey when you're taking a pass, you want to cradle the pass. You just don't want to stop there.
Exactly.
So I'm cradling your hand?
Exactly. As I push towards you, you're going to use your far hand to guide this hand. Guide perfectly, right into your next hand. Grab.
So now what, does it matter what fingers I'm grabbing?
Not really. If you want to grab 2, 3, just grab a few digits.
Okay, but it could be like pinky and ring finger, or it could be the pointer finger?
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Now the key is, doesn't matter what fingers you grab, it's how you grab. Okay. The first thing we got to remember is where you're going to put pressure. It's going to be on my knuckles. So what you want to do is keep your pinky above my knuckles.
I'm staying above the knuckle line.
Exactly. In other episodes, we talked about fulcrum, lever, base, and a joint lock. And it's very important, again, these rules apply, okay? Your point of fulcrum is those knuckles, okay? Your lever, in this case, is my fingers. And what you'll notice is once we get going, where's your base going to come from? Is when you get me to the floor.
Okay, so is my left hand doing anything here? I'm just basically just holding onto your wrist.
Exactly.
I'm not twisting, I'm not doing anything.
All this becomes is a guide. So when I go to push you, I go to push, you guide it right in your hands. Boom.
Oh, okay, so I must use your momentum and also pull your arm into this.
Yeah, let me move. You'd be like a catcher in baseball.
Okay.
So as I go to push, you're going to slide it and boom, catch it.
Okay, so now I'm here. So
exactly.
I'm above the knuckle line, and then I'm just going to what? Rotate your fingers
What you're going to do
you?
is take my fingers and turn them so they're parallel to the floor. So right up. And you'll see what happens to me. You draw my weight in, now there's a lot of pressure on my fingers.
This is pain compliance.
Exactly. If I'm in pain, I will comply.
Okay.
So you'll get me over.
Yeah.
Okay, now there's a lot of pressure there. All you're going to do now is push straight
down?
towards the floor. Go forward, you'll notice I'm in pain.
Yeah.
As soon as you get me here, that's when it gets really painful.
Oh, so that's the worst part at the bottom.
Exactly, because that is now you've created that base. Fulcrum, lever, base.
I wish you would stop asking me these physics questions. I didn't pay attention when I took this the first time.
So you got me in this position.
Okay.
You got me in this pain.
Yeah.
Obviously, you need to get away.
Okay.
But you want to make sure I stay down. So
am I slamming your elbow into the ground, or am I just kind of
you're just
tapping and then going?
controlling me to the floor. Take control over me. I will move away from pain. You don't. Since
So I'm not even trying to smash your elbow.
No. You're just more or less bringing me to the floor. Where's the best place for me to be if I'm the attacker, the aggressor? Down here.
Okay, so
best place for you to be is where? On your knees or standing.
So we're there, boom.
Yep.
I get, and then I'm
As
gone.
you get up, if I start to get up, now you're just going to give me a push. You're just going to push me over,
then-
so you have more time
and then I'm out.
to get away.
Okay, perfect. Let's try that quicker speed then, I guess.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So you got your locker. Blow it up. Gives you a shove. Gives you a push. Also give you another push. Perfect. Down. Good.
Oh. All right. How was that? You want to do that one again, or is that enough for you, Jason?
I think that's enough for me for today, Mike.
All right, perfect. We'll be right back on Urban Self-Defense.
Here's a self-defense technique you can learn in less than a minute. This is a great one for the ladies. You could be standing, you could be sitting on the bus, it could happen anywhere. And this is when someone gets, whoa, a little too friendly. First thing I want to do is I'm going to reach over and grab his hand. Taking my fingers and I'm going to grab what we call the meat of his pinky. From here, my thumb is placed on top of his thumb. I'm going to roll and peel his hand off my shoulder to the sky. As I do so, I'm going to grab it with my other hand because two hands are better than one. From this position, I'm going to draw my hand straight from here down to his groin. Now I need to get away, so I'm going to push off on the side of his head, making some space. We're going to do that one more time. Again, it's not a friendly, not a nice situation. Someone puts their hand around you. Hey, I don't like this. I'm going to grab. Hands up, hand, groin, push, and don't touch me. There's one more technique to help keep you safe.
Welcome back to USD. Now we've seen this next defense back in our first episode, but because of the lessened aggression needed for youth-on-youth conflict, Nathan will show you a different technique to defend yourself from an attack while sitting at a desk. Kevin's going to be really disappointed that he's not here for this episode because it looks like the tables have turned, and Jason, you're the one taking the beating now.
Unfortunately, you're right this time, Mike. But again, we're going to look at a situation like we talked about before, someone behind a table or a desk. In this case, we've changed a little tiny bit because of the level of aggression required. Since it's a youth-on-youth approach, chances of a high level of violent attack right away diminishes.
So the idea here is that Nathan's the straight A student and you're the malcontent.
Exactly.
Okay.
So his whole goal is like any situation or any self-defense that we've talked about in this show is to get away. That's first and foremost. So he is looking at the only thing is to get up, get away, but keep me under control while he can safely get away.
Okay, so you're coming at him, hands on the table.
Yep, I come over, an aggressive approach again. I'm over top of the table. I'm lurching over top of him. From here, he's going to pull my hands free, causing my upper body to start to fall.
Okay, can we go back, just rewind quickly? Okay, so you're hooking your thumbs around your wrist. Is that the idea?
Exactly. He's going to take these, use this as like a hook, part of his hand. So he's going to come in and hook.
And then just
basically pull me out.
break apart. Okay, so
as I fall down,
you're coming down. Okay.
He's going to box my ears.
So that's going to disorient you, right? Is that the idea?
Exactly.
Okay.
Disorients me. From there, after he boxes my ears, he's going to take his fingers and hook behind my jawline, right
like
behind
a fish
the
hook
bone.
type thing?
Exactly. You're gonna hook your fingers over.
Okay.
Hook right up behind all those. There's a center, a cluster of nerves in there.
Yeah.
And from here, he will pull.
Okay, so now so what is the aim of this move? Is that gonna, so it's hitting the cluster of nerves, so that's gonna cause like that rapid, quick pain?
Exactly. As he hooks this hook in behind all this cluster of nerves, my jawline, he will use that as he stands and pulls. What that's going to do, because of the pain compliance, I'm going to be drawn onto the table.
Okay, well, we're just talking about kind of the lessened aggression idea, but I mean, there it looks like he's going to pop your head off. So that looks like a pretty advanced, kind of dangerous move, though, or is it?
Not really. You will not cause any severe permanent damage by grabbing me here. I will be sore for the next 15, 20 minutes, maybe half hour, but it's not like as the other techniques we were doing with the student self-defense, when we were actually locking up the elbow and attacking smaller joints, which could cause a great deal of pain or limb to break. In this, there is no limb to break. He's just causing pain compliance on a set of nerves, pressure points, which we discussed the other show, and it gives him that little bit of advantage to get control, to get away.
Now, should the victim be kind of cognizant of not wrenching your neck? Like he's just pulling it forward, because if you twist it, could there be damage done to the neck there?
If you went too far. In this case, since he's just more stepping up and rolling my head slightly over, I'll be okay. It's just basically, he's not going to turn my head more than I would naturally turn it myself.
Okay, so you don't want to do a wrench.
No, we're not going to break the man's neck.
Okay.
All we need to do is get his body weight onto the table, myself all ajar, so he has time to get away.
Okay, so let's get back into that down position there. So Nathan, you have the hook in. Okay, so one hand's behind your head. So he's actually basically bracing your neck there.
Exactly. He has full control over my head now.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to wrench it. He's just going to use this as a tool to get my body weight to come forwards, keep me under pain compliance, and that way he can get away.
So he's not really pulling you. It's more of you're following him.
Exactly.
You're following the direction. So he's not basically pulling your head onto the table. He's just grabbing the nerves and kind of suggesting that you follow.
Exactly. I will follow him. Again, it's pain compliance. If a person's in pain, they will comply. So as he pulls away, the natural response of the human body is always to go with the pain, go away from the pain. So I'm going to push myself forwards, trying to relieve the pain, but it's exactly what he is trying to do. Is that he wants me to come towards him.
So when does Nathan know to release the grip?
Once he is to a standing position, you will notice he will release the grip and he's able to escape.
Oh, so it's Nathan standing, not how far across the desk you are?
No, because again, he is looking at to get himself where? From behind that seated position. Because from here, I have the advantage over top of him. He needs to get himself away from that sitting position. And again, make that space, get himself into a safer place so he can escape. So that's what he is doing in this situation, is getting control over me so he can safely stand up and get away.
Perfect. Okay, let's see that a little bit of speed.
Okay.
Well, that was more than a little bit of speed, but Nathan, I like the enthusiasm. Okay, let's do it one more time, a little bit slower. So on the pull, so again, he's just grabbing the hook, the fish hook in there, and basically suggesting that you follow across the table.
As he stands up, he's going to slightly pull towards him. It's the natural instinct of the body. He grabs, he's going to stand. And as he stands, that natural stand will draw me towards him.
So the fact that you're basically on the table and your feet aren't on the floor is just really a benefit. Because
exactly.
So if he gets away, it's going to take you a second, to kind of stop thinking about this pain, get back on your feet, and then chase him.
Exactly, because his whole goal is to get me sprawled on the table, get my body weight up here on the table, so he has lots of time to get away.
Perfect. Okay, this one's for Kevin. One more time, full speed, let her rip. Nice work. We'll be right back on Urban Self-Defense.
Here's a self-defense technique you can learn in less than a minute. Typically done by fairly aggressive people. You go to shake their hand and they want to squeeze it. Well, the first thing I need to do when I shake this person's hand is protect my hand. So I'm going to turn my Peter pointer pointing up his arm. As soon as I do so, he can no longer squeeze my bones together. He's trying to squeeze my hand cross-grain, which really protects my hand. But I still need to get away. So I'm going to take my other hand, I'm going to slide my fingers nice and tight to the underside of his wrist and close my grip. So now I have a two-hand handshake on this fella. From here, I'm going to basically roll it towards me, causing pain onto his wrist. From here, I can now push from the back of his arm, pushing myself free to safety. We're going to do that one more time. Again, it grabs your wrist. I instantly point up so he can't squeeze my hand. Grab, roll him to the sky, push off, make some space for freedom and safety. That's one more tip to help keep you safe.
Welcome back to the show. In this next scenario, we'll show you every parent's worst nightmare, your child being abducted by an adult. Nathan will show you how to defend yourself if someone snatches you from behind. As we've seen, this defense takes things up a notch. It requires a top level of aggression because this is the worst case scenario for a youth. Isn't that right, Jason?
That's right, Mike.
Okay, first of all, you got to take those glasses off. I can't take you seriously.
Okay, we'll get rid of them for a second, just for you.
You look like a drug dealer from an episode of Miami Vice.
Well, with that in mind, we're going to go through the situation.
Okay, so Nathan's walking along, had his cell phone, or he's just walking along the hallway.
Exactly, and a lot of times he could have a cell phone in his hand. He could be, maybe looking at a book or anything. His mind's off of what he's doing, so he's not using his mindfulness. So this
he's
case,
your son. Shouldn't you be the one teaching him that stuff?
We'll talk about this after the episode. So in this case, I come up, and the person's going to grab them. Try to trap their arms in, because that's the best thing you can try to do for an attacker.
Bear hug.
Bear hug.
Okay.
I pick him up. And from here, he is going to use his heels to bash my shins to the point where it becomes so sore I have to set him down.
Now, this is the same defense we saw in the women's safety episode as well, right? So
exactly.
He's creating extreme pain along your shin, which is you're just going to think about the pain and then drop him.
Exactly.
Okay.
So as soon as I release him, he knows instantly he needs to start to look at getting away.
Okay, so you drop him, he feels you land, and then you break the hold, he grabs your wrist.
Exactly. He grabs my wrist. You see, now at least he knows where I am, because it could be dark, and chances are it will be if I'm attacking this youth.
Okay.
So from here, he's going to strike the groin.
Oh. Okay. All right. Yep.
What that does, as you can see, it's going to transfer my body weight forwards, and he now has my attention.
So can we just go back to the initial move with the feet?
Yep.
So he's taking his right foot and putting it.
So when he grabs my wrist, he's shifting his hips over, creating that space. Now there's a little bit of space between me and him.
Is this kind of the little the balance of movement we did in the last episode?
Exactly. He's going to transfer your weight to the side.
Okay.
So
then groin strike.
Strikes the groin.
Yep.
Now he's going to basically transfer his hips back in front of me. What he's setting me up for, what we call a hip throw.
So it's, again, same thing. So he's closing the space between you and driving his hip into your waist.
Basically, exactly.
Okay.
What he's trying to do is first is get his hips in line with mine, and his goal is to lower his center of balance below mine. That's how you do a throw. Because anybody can throw anybody, it's breaking a person's balance. As you can see, I outweigh him, and he'll have no problem throwing me.
So you're telling me if Kevin was here, he'd be able to throw Kevin?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it's all leverage, basically.
It's all leverage. So he bends down. What he's going to do is get his center of balance below mine. He's going to basically stick his rear end out and use his legs, his 100% legs, to lift me.
Popping his hip and extending his legs?
Yep. Okay. So right now, it's no weight on his body. I'm sitting on his hips, and it was his legs that did all the lift.
Okay.
Now from here, it's simple. He's going to pull my lower arm, push over top, and throw me to the floor.
Okay.
And if you know, he did one very important thing. He kept control of this arm.
So why is that important?
For several reasons. One, if it's dark, he knows where I am. Okay? And again, he wants to get away safely. So this gives him time to hold this, He can stomp the ribs. Again, we're a high level of aggression because I'm an adult attacking a youth. So he stomps the ribs. He's going to throw my arm away, and that gives him time to escape.
Could he do something, Nathan, if you just jump back in here, could he do something with your elbow as well? I mean, we've done this before where you kind of slam the elbow down on the ground. Would that work as well?
He could step back right now, just step back and drive my elbow clean to the floor, boom.
Okay.
That would obviously shatter my elbow more and give him more time to get away.
So it's really whatever you need to do to get yourself out of the situation, because
exactly,
as we again said in the women's safety episode, this is a little bit different from a normal self-defense.
Exactly.
Right? Because the aggression level's raised, it's an adult versus a youth, so he needs to get away by any means necessary.
Exactly. He has to use a higher level of aggression because my thoughts, my intentions are probably pretty horrible. So he needs to do everything he can to stop me and to get him safely out of there.
Perfect. Now it's my turn, Jason. You're not getting off that easy. Nathan, let's see that again. And remember, this is the man who's grounded you and made you do chores around the house for 17 years. I want you to think about that in this next demonstration. Let's go full speed.
And on that, remember who you have to travel home with.
Okay, so Jason grabs, picks up, shins, break, grabs the wrist, groin, hip hop, and over. Well, Jason, you've raised one lean, mean fighting machine. Thank you very much. Nathan, thank you. We'll be right back after these messages.
Here's a self-defense technique you can learn in less than a minute. And we're doing it from a headlock. Man grabs you. First thing I want to do is protect my chin and my throat. So I'm going to turn my chin in towards his body. From here, I'm going to clap myself to freedom. I'm going to strike his groin. Clap, clap, clap. Once I have his attention, I'm going to draw my hand up across his face. From here, I'm going to do a circular motion, drawing his head, controlling his nose to my hip. Now I have him here. We're going to throw a well-placed groin kick in, push off to freedom. We're going to do that one more time a little quicker. So I am in a headlock, turn myself chin in, clap myself free, roll him over, kick, push off to freedom. There's one more tip to help keep you safe.
Welcome back to USD. Now, Jason, this episode, a familiar theme was escalating aggression when Nathan was attacked by you as an adult.
Exactly. If you notice in the first two sessions we did, 2 segments, it was more or less the level of aggression was slightly lower because it was all about youth to youth violence. The last one, unfortunately, we have to kick it up a notch because that is a very horrible situation when a youth is actually attacked by an adult. They require to use the same amount of force as a woman being attacked by a man. They need to kick it up a notch. So that's why you see that level of aggression went from about here to here.
So there are no rules, whereas before we don't want to cause serious, long-lasting harm to the person. Now we want to get away by any means necessary.
Exactly, because unfortunately he has no idea what the intention of that person is. As horrible as it may be, he requires to get himself or herself to the most safest place possible.
So what are some tips that parents should have for their kids to keep them safe?
One thing I'm a big firm believer in and what not to do, and coming from an area where hockey is big, soccer, baseball, a lot of parents, they get their kids into sports, which is great. But one thing they do is they'll buy their son or daughter that hockey jacket or that the baseball jacket, and they'll put their name on it.
So what's wrong with that?
As soon as you put a name on that jacket, unfortunately someone else, bad person, could come along and look at your child, and instantly they know their name. They'll come up and say, "Johnny, your dad has sent me." Well, the poor little Johnny might not realize that he doesn't know my dad. He knows my name, so he must know my dad.
That's actually a really good point, because that's not something that I would think of, and I'm sure most parents wouldn't think to not put their name on there, because it's a point of pride to have your name on a sports jacket, right? But it's definitely not worth the chance of being abducted, right?
Exactly. So I always say, if you're going to put your name on your child's clothing, put it on the inside, because if you're concerned that your child might get it misplaced with another child's piece of clothing at the arena, put their name on the inside. That way they think, oh, that's my jacket, it has my name on the inside. It's not wrote on the outside where anybody could come along and instantly know your child's name and use that against them.
Now, Nathan, you're a big, strong guy, and I mean, you threw your dad around pretty easily from my perspective. But what are some techniques that maybe he showed you when you were younger and you didn't kind of have the height and strength that you do now? So maybe like kind of 8 to 10 years old.
So mostly when I was younger, my dad always taught me not to yell help because no one would listen. Like if some person was walking by, they would say, oh, whatever. And then, but if you yelled fire, everyone yells for fire because it could be your house, your neighbors, your best friends, it could be anyone's house.
So where did you come up with that idea, Jason? I mean, that's kind of innovative. I mean, and it's true. I mean, if you kind of hear help, you'll just kind of look and I don't really see anything in that vicinity. But fire, you're going to look for the signs, either fire trucks or smoke or something.
Exactly. Right? I call it the rubbernecker response because everybody's seen an accident at the side of the road, flashing lights. What's the first thing everybody does? They stop, slow down, and look. And it's human instinct. Unfortunately, through society and through time, less and less people are open to hear the word help. But as soon as you yell fire, those flashing lights, as soon as someone says fire, they think flashing lights, they think, ooh, excitement. And they look. And that's all you're trying to do. You're trying to grab that attention to you. Doesn't matter how you get it, as long as you pull that attention to your situation when it's happening.
And Jason, any last tips for parents out there if they are concerned about their kids being bullied or attacked by someone?
First thing and foremost, if you have any idea or a feeling that your child is being bullied, there's a lot of times they will not come to you. Go out of your way, talk to the teachers, talk to the school, find out what is going on. Unfortunately, a lot of kids will shut down, so you need to be the one that opens up for them. You need to go find out what's going on and take that active role in your child's education, but more important, in their safety, and their true safety.
Perfect. Thank you, Jason. If you missed Kevin being beat up this week or you just want to check out more USD, go to RogersTV.com. And next week's episode will all be about safety at instant tellers. So for Jason and Nathan Carter, I'm Mike Arsenault. We'll see you next week.